are so excited that you decided to join us today. You know, we are going to have another adventure. That's right. We're going on another voyage. And this time it's going to take us to a great story in the book of Acts. That's right. You know, but before we do that, let's get up on our feet for some praise and worship. And we are going to give Jesus everything we got because he deserves it. So, me and Pete the Parrot will see you after praise and worship.
For I am not ashamed of the gospel, for it is the power of God. For I am not ashamed of the gospel, for it is the power of God. Yeah! Woo!
Well, ahoy, mateys! We have been on this sailing vessel for days and days, sailing across the seas. You know, I've been swabbing the deck. That's right, swabbing the deck. That means mopping. And I am tired. I finally got a chance to sit down. You know, But on this venture, we actually stopped off yesterday at an island. And while we were on the island, I was exploring for some treasures, you know, because that's what, like, pirates and voyagers and explorers do. They look for treasure. And you want to know what I found? Do you really want to know? Come on. I got to hear you holler. Say, yeah. Okay. I'll show you what I got. Well, I was walking the beach and I found this bottle. It's really cool. It wasn't even broken. But what was even better is that there's a note inside. Yeah. And I didn't read the note because I wanted to share it with you guys. So, let's see what this note has to say. If I can get it out of the bottle. It's in there pretty tight. Oh, maybe it's a treasure map. Or maybe it's got some wisdom. Let's see. Oh no. It says eat tacos on Tuesday. Well, that's a no-brainer. Everybody eats tacos on Tuesday, including pirates. Ha ha ha. All right. Let's see what else we got. Oh, I gotta tell you, I was walking around the island and I got hit in the head by these coconuts. Now, I don't like coconuts, and I definitely don't like the one that hit me on my head. They'll dent my hat. But the only thing coconuts are good for, in my opinion, is coconut bowling. If you're going to do that, coconuts are good. And then I was exploring around, and I found a rubber chicken. Yep, I found a rubber chicken. Now, hey, everybody loves rubber chickens, don't we? All right, well, all right. And let's see, I found one more thing. Guess what I found? I found some treasure. That's right. Ha ha ha. I found some treasure. Isn't this exciting? Let's see. Maybe there's gold or silver or maybe jewels. Let's see what we got in here. What do you think we got? All our riches. Oh no. It's not gold. And it's not silver. And it's not jewels. It is rubber ducks. Not sure about that. This one also has rubber duckies. Well, it's not much of a treasure, but, you know, maybe if you were in a bathtub, these would be a great treasure to find. You know, I was just thinking, you know, we're about ready. We're on this ship, and as we are sailing, I'm starting to see some clouds in the horizon. It's getting dark, and I think we're going to be heading into a storm. That means we need to batten down the hatches. That means we need to lower the sails so we don't, like, flip over or, you know, upside down. A ship upside down is not good, folks. But, you know, as we are leading into this storm, it reminds me of a story found in Acts chapter 27 and 28. That's right. 2 chapters about Paul. Paul was on a ship and he was heading to Rome. He was actually had been arrested for sharing all of the gospel, the good news of Jesus. So he was arrested and he was on this ship heading to Rome to face the emperors and face trial. However, they ran into a storm. I'll tell you what, check this video out and I will see you after the video and after the storm. I hope after the storm.
Paul's adventures and travels led him to Jerusalem. There, the Jewish leaders brought up false charges against him, and Paul was taken prisoner and sent to Caesarea to stand trial before King Agrippa. Although King Agrippa found that Paul had committed no crime, because he was a Roman citizen and had appealed to the Roman emperor, Paul was sent to Rome. Under the watchful eyes of Julius, a Roman officer, Paul and a number of other prisoners boarded a large sailing ship that would carry them to many port cities on the long journey to Rome. Once aboard the ship, Paul was led on a winding journey that took him from Caesarea to Sidon to Myra to Cnidus, and then around the island of Crete, where they docked at a place called Fair Havens. Getting to Fair Havens had been a long and difficult journey. Winter was approaching, bringing with it dangerous weather and sailing conditions. Paul pleaded with the sailors and officers to stay on Crete. Paul warned them, "Continuing this journey will bring disaster to our ship, cargo, and our own lives. We should remain here." Despite Paul's warnings, the officer in charge was persuaded by the ship's captain to find a safer place on the island of Crete where they could spend the winter. Soon after they set sail, what was a gentle breeze turned into hurricane-force winds that blew their ship far off course and out into the open sea. The sailors tried to control the ship, but nothing they did could put them back on course. Exhausted, the sailors secured the ship as best as they could with ropes, and then let the storm drive them wherever it pleased. For many days, the ship sailed on raging seas under the black skies of the storm that blotted out the sun and the stars. Exhausted and starving, everyone on board began to lose hope that they would survive this voyage. All except for Paul. Paul stood in front of the crew and passengers and said, "Men, you should have listened to me and not left Crete. But take courage. God's angel came to me last night and said that the ship will be destroyed, but all of us will survive. Even though we will be shipwrecked, God will save us." Finally, after 14 nights of fear and misery, the sailors sensed that the ship was approaching land. By measuring the water's depth, the sailors were able to tell that they were getting closer. They dropped the ship's anchors, hoping that they would stop before crashing against the rocks. Some of the terrified sailors couldn't wait to get off the ship and onto dry land, so they lowered the lifeboat to the water while pretending to lower anchors. Paul told a Roman officer what was happening and warned, "Unless we all stay on this boat, you won't survive." Hearing this, the officer cut the lifeboat loose, and it fell away. Before the sun came up the next day, Paul urged everyone to eat, so they would have strength to survive the events that would take place that day. Everyone on board knew that their voyage would end with a shipwreck. Paul could see the fear and concern on their faces, so he offered them encouragement by reminding them that God said everyone on the ship would make it safely to shore. Paul then took some bread and gave thanks to God in front of the crew and passengers. He broke it into pieces and then began to eat. Everyone on board ate until they were full, and they were strengthened and encouraged. At daylight, the sailors decided to run the ship aground. They cut away the anchors and aimed the ship for the beach. The ship slammed into a sandbar that was still a bit off the island shore. The ship wouldn't budge out of the sand, and the waves began to smash what was left of the ship into pieces. The Roman soldiers wanted to kill the prisoners to stop them from swimming away and escaping. But one soldier, who wanted to spare Paul's life, stopped the others from carrying out their plan. Some prisoners jumped overboard and swam ashore, while others survived by clinging to broken pieces of ship. In the end, everyone made it safely ashore on the island of Malta.
Oh, I made it back through the storm. Huh. I did get a little seasick, tossing and turning in the waves, but the winds and the waves have calmed down. So, what do you think about that story of Paul? I mean, not only did he survive a shipwreck, but he survived a snake bite. Remember that? Well, I find it amazing that Paul found treasure on the island of Malta. Oh, wait a minute. You didn't read that part or see that part of the story? Yeah, he found treasure, not gold and silver. He found treasure in the people. That's right, the people of Malta. Because guess what? He built a church there. He shared with them the love of Jesus. He shared with them the good news of Jesus. And that all you have to do is believe in your hearts and confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord. And that's what he did. And when he left that island, the people were very happy. They were excited because they had Jesus in their hearts. And you know, we can have that same excitement. All we have to do is invite Jesus to live in our hearts and just believe that he died on the cross for our sins and that we can live forever and ever with him. That's right. You know, there's going to be a time when our voyage on earth has ended and our destination is to reach heaven. But we have to have Jesus in our hearts to do that. Well, I hope you enjoyed this voyage with me. I hope that Pete over here can get Jesus in his heart because I want to see him in heaven too. He don't talk much. He's a quiet parrot. What do you think, Pete? No? You know, it's okay. He doesn't like to talk. But I know that he's going to get Jesus in his heart too. So, you have a great time. And remember, wherever the journey takes you, Jesus is always with you.